Today is the year 1983. Welcome, guys, to a brand new series on the channel where we are re-simulating NBA history from 1983 all the way to sometime in the future, maybe like 2030 or 2035 or even maybe 2040. We'll see what happens now. If you guys have been around this channel, you guys know I do this series, but from 1949 all the way on, and usually towards the end of the basketball season in like March or April. Well, we are doing it this year on NBA 2K25 earlier. However, it's starting in 1983 and with a twist. We're still going to do the normal 1949 re-simulation. Once the community kind of builds everything and makes all the teams, the logos, the rosters, the draft classes, all of that, once we get all of that done, we will start that at some point. So keep on looking out for that. But in the meantime, we're going to do something fun. Now, I have the 1983, technically, roster here on 2K. All right. Now, there are a couple of maybe big names that might be missing. If we're looking at all the players here, there's a couple players missing. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. So what we are doing is we are taking some of the greatest players of all time. I've taken 20 players. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson are two of the 20 players. And I've swapped the times that they come into the league. All right. Now with Bird and Magic, because they came in before 83, it's going to be a little bit weird with them and with who replaces them. But you guys will see upcoming in the NBA draft class. But let's simulate 1983, 1984 and see what would happen if neither Bird or Magic were in the NBA. Moses Malone wins MVP, averaging 28.7 points per game, 15.8 rebounds per game, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1.7 blocks, and I believe this would be his 4th MVP, and he would be actually technically the first player ever to win 3 straight MVP awards. So already history is being completely changed with Bird and Magic out of the league at this point. Ralph Sampson wins Rookie of the Year, averaging 20 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. Kevin McHale, averaging 21 and 10, wins Sixth Man of the Year. Kia Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know why it says Kia Defensive Player of the Year. It's just Defensive Player of the Year. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wins DPOY, 18 and 12, and 2 blocks per game. LaSalle Thompson wins Most Improved, averaging 9 and 10 per game, 2.8 blocks per game. And the Utah Jazz won 60 games. So did the Philadelphia 76ers. All NBA first team, Isaiah Thomas on the first team, averaging 21 and 10 per game. Alex English, 23, 4 and 4 on the first team. Mark Aguirre, averaging 28, 7 and 3. Julius Erving, averaging 24, 7 and 3. And Moses Malone, averaging 28 and 16. All NBA second team, we got Walter Davis, Ricky Green, Dominique Wilkins, Clark Kellogg, and Jeff Rowland, who is out for the season. He tore his right ACL, unfortunately, but still did enough to get on the All-NBA second team. All defensive first team, guys. Wait, there's no third team? Oh, there's no third team. Was that a thing back then? I didn't know that. Okay. DPO or defensive first team. Yeah, Sidney Moncrief, Paul Pressey, Buck Williams, Larry Nance, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And on the second team, we got Dennis Johnson, Darwin Cook, Kevin McHale, Bobby Jones, and LaSalle Thompson. Here's your all-rookie first team, Clyde Drexler in the league, averaging 13 and 4 and 2 assists as a rookie. Bernard King led the league in scoring, averaging 29 points per game. Moses led the league in rebounds. Isaiah led the league in assists. Gus Williams led the league in steals, along with a couple of other guys. Ricky Green in here, Darwin Cook, and Sidney Moncrief. And then Mark Eaton led the league in blocks per game with 2.9 blocks. So, on to the 1983-84 NBA playoffs. The Utah Jazz do have the number 1 seed. The Philadelphia 76ers have the 1 seed in the East. Boston still made the playoffs with no Larry Bird. Obviously, still a very, very good team with Robert Parrish, McHale coming off the bench, Cedric Maxwell, Scott Wedman, Dennis Johnson, and Henderson. So a very, very good team. And the Lakers still the number 2 seed in the West. Klay Johnson starting at point guard, but they still got Byron Scott, Jamal Wilkes, James Worthy, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, an older Bob McAdoo as well. So two very, very good teams still. They're top 3 teams in their own conference. So pretty impressive. But we head to round number 2. The Atlanta Hawks, the Dallas Mavericks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Indiana Pacers, Seattle Supersonics, and the Denver Nuggets, and the San Diego Clippers, and the Bucks are all eliminated. So we got Utah versus Phoenix. Utah with Adrian Dantley and Mark Eaton on that team. Phoenix with Larry Nance, Alvin Adams, Walter Davis on that team. The LA Lakers, obviously, we've seen them with James Worthy and Kareem. And the Portland Trailblazers with Fat Lever, Kenny Carr, Michael Thompson, and Clyde Drexler coming off the bench. In East, we got Philly and New Jersey. Philly with Dr. J and Moses Malone. New Jersey with Albert King, Buck Williams, Daryl Dawkins. And then for Detroit, we got Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer. And then, obviously, the Boston Celtics making it to round 2 without Larry Bird. On to the conference finals, the Portland Trailblazers with rookie Clyde Drexler gets eliminated. The Detroit Pistons with Isaiah Thomas get eliminated. And the Boston Celtics without Larry Bird are on to the conference finals. Same with the Magic Johnson list, LA Lakers. The New Jersey Nets are eliminated by the MVP Moses Malone and Dr. J. And the Phoenix Suns are eliminated by the Utah Jazz. So we've got Utah versus LA, and we got Philly versus Boston. I'm kind of surprised that both LA and Boston made it to the conference finals. I thought maybe one of them would kind of fall off a little bit, but they both win game 1 in the conference finals. The Lakers win game 2 over Utah. Philly ties up the series with the Celtics. Celtics take a 2-1 series lead. The Lakers take a 3-0 series lead. Utah gets a game. We're all tied up in the Philly-Boston series. Boston wins game 5. So does Utah. So LA, who was up 3-0, now in a 3-2 series. Same with Boston. They're up 3-2. And the Philadelphia 76ers are eliminated. Dr. J and Moses Malone are eliminated by the Larry Bird, the non-Larry Bird Boston Celtics. Wow. Utah has come back from a 3-0 deficit, and they win. No way. Right off the bat, the Utah Jazz become the first team in NBA history to come back from a 3-0 deficit. Oh my gosh. You have got to be kidding me. Just immediately. Wow. Wow. James Worthy was playing. I'm not sure what happened. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. They just blew a 3-0 series lead without Magic Johnson. So we have the Boston Celtics versus the Utah Jazz in the 1984 NBA Finals. Wow. Okay. Can the Celtics, without Larry Bird, win the title? Or, in this universe, does Adrian Dantley win an NBA title? Let's see what happens. Game 1 in the Simcast we go. Utah with home court advantage. They have their trail actually headed into the second half. Now they take a lead into the fourth quarter. Down to 3:53. They have a 4-point lead. Now a 3-point lead. And down to a minute and 24. They have a 4-point lead. Can Boston make this close so we can jump in here? Okay, it's a 1-point lead with 50 seconds to go. Let's jump in. Utah with the ball. By the way, I am going to leave the little eras filter on. If you guys really don't like it, let me know in the comments below and I'll take it off. But pass is stolen by Maxwell. Boston down by 1. Maxwell in transition to Kevin McHale. And McHale lays it up and in a huge turnover by the Utah Jazz. And now the Boston Celtics take a 1-point lead with 36 seconds to go. So Mark Eaton will pass it in. Just immediately a huge play. Green will have it. And this timeout thing is still a thing. Unbelievable. Eves with the ball. He gets it in the post to Dantley. Dantley a little banged up, but he's still in the game. Trying to post up. Nowhere to go. He'll pass it back out over to Green. Green driving left. Kicks it to Eaton. Eaton in the post, puts up a tough shot. It's no good. Great defense by Kevin McHale. And now the Utah Jazz have to foul. Gerald Henderson, 8 points, 5 rebounds so far tonight. With 14 seconds to go, up by 1 here in Game 1 of the 1984 NBA Finals. And his first free throw is up and good. Free throw number 2 for Henderson is also good. So a 3-point lead for the Boston Celtics. Eaton will pass it in. The Jazz with 14 seconds here to try to at least tie up this game. Bailey over to Eves. Eves, will they go for 2 or will they try to take a 3 to tie it up? 5 seconds to go. Eves kicks it out to Green for 3. No, he missed it. McHale with the rebound. He gets fouled. That will do it. Basically no time left on the clock. And as long as Kevin McHale hits at least 1 free throw here, it is over. And there you go. Boston wins game number 1. Adrian Dantley had 40 points in the loss. Green had 13 points and 20 assists. Griffith with 37. Johnson with 29. Parrish with 24. McHale with 20 and 10. And we head into game number 2 once again in Utah. And after 1, the Jazz have an 8-point lead, a much lower scoring game here in game number 2. A big third quarter by both teams, though. And the Utah Jazz will tie up this series. They win it 96-81. Drew with 30 and 6. Dantley with 19 and 5. Johnson with 21. Parrish with 19 and 12. But we are all tied up at 1, headed back to Boston for game number 3. After 1, the Jazz take a 3-point lead at the half. They are up by 1. After 3, we're all tied up. Now the Jazz take a 4-point lead early in the 4th. Down to 2.5 minutes ago. It's a 3-point game. Down to less than a minute. Still a 3-point game. Okay, it's a 1-point game with 26 seconds to go. All right, let's jump into this one too. So Utah up by 1. Boston with the ball. Another high-scoring game in this series. Drew with it. 20 seconds to go. And Boston's not going to foul, so they're going to make him take a shot. I'm not sure where the shot clock is at here. 10 seconds to go. 9, 8. Drew with 4 on the shot clock will take a shot. No good. Boston can't grab the rebound, though. Dantley picked it up, and did they call a jump ball or a foul? It's a jump ball with 2 seconds to go. Boston down by 1. And it goes to McHale. Full court shot. No, he missed it. What a crazy last few seconds there. But the Utah Jazz will win 133-132. McHale with 35 and 7. Parrish with 17 and 9. And Dantley with 38 points in the win. On to game number 4. Boston trying to tie up this series, but a rough second quarter. They're down by 11 going into the half and into the 4th. Can they come back here late in the 4th? It might be too late. Yep, it's going to be too late. 101-94. Griffith and Dantley with 24 and 21. Parrish with 22. And the Utah Jazz have a 3-1 series lead. Going into game 5 in Utah. And the Jazz with the lead here going into the 4th. They're up by 15. And that should just about do it. The Utah Jazz are going to win the 1984 NBA title. And that will do it. The Utah Jazz are NBA champions. They beat the Celtics 128-109 here in game number 5. And win the series 4-1. So just like that, no Bird, no Magic. Yet the Celtics still got to the finals. But history is completely changed. The Utah Jazz win their first NBA title in franchise history. Wow. Just like that. And now this upcoming offseason, we got a couple of really good players coming into the league. I'm excited to show you guys that. But let's watch the celebration here as Adrian Dantley will hoist up the Larry O'Brien Trophy as the Utah Jazz are NBA champions. And there is your finals MVP. The Utah Jazz are the 1984 NBA champs. Adrian Dantley is your rookie of the year, apparently. 30 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. He is your, technically, finals MVP. By the way, if you guys are enjoying this series and you want to see the series continue, hit that like button. Subscribe if you guys are new. Trying to hit 10,000 subscribers. I would really appreciate it. And in the description down below, if you click on the Google Sheets link, I will have a link to basically, if you guys watched my previous resimulation series, it's just an Excel sheet showing who won MVP, Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man, who won the title, all of that stuff in an Excel sheet, so you guys can go and look at it yourself, which I think is a pretty cool deal. So go check that out in the description. And like I said, if you guys want to see this series continue, hit that like button. But let's head on to the 1984 offseason. We are in the 1984 NBA Draft Lottery. And back then, at this point, it is just a coin flip, okay, to see who gets the #1 overall pick. However, Akeem Olajuwon, still in this draft class. Charles Barkley, in this draft class. But one player that will not be is Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan will appear at some point in this series. I can't tell you which draft class he will appear in, but he is not in the 1984 draft class in this world. It is Victor Wembanyama. So Victor Wembanyama and Akeem Olajuwon. The question in this draft class and in this season, who will be the #1 overall pick? It's two just ridiculously talented centers, two of the best centers we've ever seen in NBA history, and these two are atop the 1984 NBA draft. So, with the lottery, we've got the Houston Rockets and the Chicago Bulls, and it will be the Chicago Bulls with the #1 overall pick. Houston will be at 2, San Antonio will be at 3, the Clippers via Golden State at 4, and the Bullets at number 5. So yeah, a little different this time around. We'll see what happens as we head into the 1984 NBA draft. And with the #1 overall pick, the Chicago Bulls will no longer be taking Michael Jordan. They will be drafting Victor Wembanyama. So Wemby heads to Chicago instead of Michael Jordan. With the 2nd overall pick, the Houston Rockets take Charles Barkley. What? Hakeem does not go #2. Hakeem goes #3 to the San Antonio Spurs. Wow. History being completely changed. John Stockton goes to the Los Angeles Clippers, previously known as the San Diego Clippers. Okay, so real quick, I did download that draft class to add Charles Barkley, and I think Bowie was added, but whoever made the class didn't take out the auto-generated players that 2K puts in for some stupid reason. So I'm not really sure what to do about that right now. Yeah, because obviously Jared Jenkins is not real. Neither is Del Bledsoe. I hate how 2K does this. And look, this is the problem with doing this series so early, right? Is because the community has to make these draft classes, and at the very least without the fake players. So it's really annoying. So yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys think I should do. Should we just keep them? Should I go in and delete them? Let me know in the comments below, because he's pretty good, and I don't want Chicago to, oh man, it's really unfortunate. On to free agency, and Jim Paxson headed to the Golden State Warriors. Joe Barry Carroll staying in Golden State. David Thompson staying in Seattle. Bob Lanier staying in Milwaukee. Gerald Henderson resigns in Boston. T.R. Dunn stays in Denver. So not a whole lot of movement this year. Okay, so I think I found someone that's making good draft classes that have the auto-generated players is really bad. So I think we're good there. So what I'm going to go ahead and do then is find those couple of players that are not real that were drafted, and I'm just going to basically make them really bad. So I gotta find them, and it's gonna be kind of a pain, but we're just gonna have to go through here and delete all of them. Isaiah Thomas wins MVP here in the 84-85 NBA season, averaging 24 and 11. Akeem Olajuwon wins Rookie of the Year, averaging 22 points, 12 rebounds, a steal, and 3 blocks per game. Victor Wembanyama, who went #1 overall, averaged 18.7 points per game, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2.2 blocks per game. Barkley averaged 18 and 10 and 3 assists per game. Alvin Robinson averaged 12 a game. Cage averaged 10 a game. Sam Bowie averaged 12 and 8 a game. So, yeah, Victor Wembanyama not winning Rookie of the Year. Mike Gimninski, I believe is how you say his name, 11 and 8 per game. He wins 6th Man of the Year. Akeem Olajuwon as a rookie wins DPOY with the 3 blocks and a steal per game. And then the most improved is Mike Gimninski as well. On to the All-NBA teams. We got Isaiah Thomas, Gus Williams, Clark Kellogg, Dominique, averaging 26 and 8, and Moses Malone. Second team, we got Alex English, who is out for the next 1 to 2 weeks. He broke his left ankle. Sidney Moncrief, he should play, but he does have a strained left hip if they made the playoffs. Mark Aguirre, Terry Cummings, and Akeem Olajuwon on the second team. All defensive first team, Sidney Moncrief, Clyde Drexler, Larry Nance, Kevin McHale, and Akeem Olajuwon. All defensive second team, Maurice Cheeks, Michael Cooper, Buck Williams, Dr. J, and Mark Eaton. No Wemby on the all defensive teams. He is on the all rookie first team along with Olajuwon. There's Barkley and John Stockton, averaging 9.8 points per game and 7.9 assists per game. Mark Aguirre led the league in scoring, averaging 28.4 points. Moses Malone led the league in rebounds with 15. Ricky Green led the league in assists with 11.6. Maurice Cheeks led the league in steals with 2.3. And Mark Eaton had 3.7 blocks per game. Good Lord. That's impressive. All right, the Lakers, the #1 seed, even without Magic Johnson, they are dominating still. Can they get to the NBA Finals? This time around, they'll play the 8-seeded Denver Nuggets. The Boston Celtics without Bird, they're the #1 seed in the East. Very impressive. Philly's the 4 seed. Detroit the #2 seed with the MVP Isaiah Thomas. But no, actually, there is San Antonio. So Akeem Olajuwon will be taking on. Oh, they have Artis Gilmore as well. So Akeem playing at the 4. This is actually a pretty good team. They're the 6 seed. They'll play the Portland Trailblazers with Fat Lever, Clyde Drexler, Kenny Carr, Michael Thompson, Calvin Nat. It's a pretty solid team, but Wemby did not make the playoffs with the Chicago Bulls. So on to round number 2. Atlanta, Cleveland, Indiana, Denver, New Jersey, Portland, LA, Seattle are all eliminated. So Akeem Olajuwon advances to the second round. They upset the Portland Trailblazers, but they'll take on the defending champions, Mark Eaton, Adrian Dantley, Ricky Green, and the Utah Jazz. The Lakers will take on the Dallas Mavericks with Mark Aguirre, the leading scorer of the league. Boston will take on Philly once again with Dr. J and Moses Malone. Detroit will take on Milwaukee with Marcus Johnson, Sidney Moncrief, and Bob Lanier. So on to the conference finals. The Spurs, the Bucks, the Sixers, and the LA Lakers are eliminated. So Utah will take on Dallas, who defeated the Rookie of the Year, and Boston will take on the MVP Isaiah Thomas. So on to game number 1 here. Dallas and Detroit win game 1. Boston and Utah both win game 2, so each series tied at 1. Utah takes a 2-1 series lead. Detroit takes a 2-1 series lead. Boston and Dallas both tie up the series at 2. Utah takes a 3-2 series lead. Boston takes a 3-2 series lead. and the Detroit Pistons are eliminated. The Boston Celtics going to back-to-back NBA Finals, and so are the Utah Jazz. We have a rematch between the Boston Celtics and the Utah Jazz. Both starting lineups, I believe, are basically the same. Mikal now starting in Boston, but pretty much the same starting lineup for the Utah Jazz. So, game number 1 here in the 1985 NBA Finals, and the Jazz with an early lead here in game 1. They do have home court advantage, and they will win game 1, 121-99. Adrian Dantley with 31, 7, and 5. Drew with 24 and 5. Parrish had 33 and 10 in the loss. On to game number 2. The Jazz once again up by 16 after 1. Up by 15 at the half, and they just blow out the Boston Celtics 125-98. Dantley with 24, 9, and 6. Parrish with 20 and 11. And the Jazz take a 2-0 series lead over the Boston Celtics. Game 3 in Boston. The Jazz up by 6. At the half, though, the Celtics take a 2-point lead. The Jazz retake the lead going into the fourth quarter. And it's going to be a close one here as we get down to 53 seconds to go. Boston with a 3-point lead. Now a 5-point lead. And that should just about do it. The Celtics win game 3, 119-114. Dantley with 28. Mikal with 29 and 9. Parrish with 27 and 12. And Boston avoids going down 3-0. However, they went down 3-1 last year, which resulted in Utah winning in 5 games. Headed into the fourth here, we've got another close game. Down to 56 seconds. The Jazz up by 1. Let's jump in. The Jazz up by 1 here with 56 seconds to go, and they turn it over. Danny Ainge with the steal. Ainge over to Maxwell. Maxwell gives it to Henderson. Henderson will put it up and 1. What a huge turnover by the Utah Jazz, and a huge bucket from Gerald Henderson. So that gives Boston a 1-point lead. Henderson to the free throw line, and he hits the free throw. So 94-92 is the score. Green will bring it up for the Jazz. Green gets a screen, and it's a moving screen. Wow. The Utah Jazz just imploding here in the fourth quarter of game number 4. So Boston will bring it up. Henderson gets it in the post to Mikal. Mikal backing down. Hook shot, no good. Bailey with the rebound. Over to Green. Gets it to Griffith. Griffith off the right side. Driving. Gives it to Green underneath. Lays it up and in. So 20 seconds to go, and the Utah Jazz have tied this game up at 94. Henderson with it. 17 seconds to go. 14. He'll hold on to it here for the final shot. Who takes the shot here for the Celtics? Remember, no Bird on this team. And Henderson turns it over. Oh my gosh. Trying to get it to Mikal. And Henderson with a huge, or maybe Parrish. Henderson with another turnover. So 5 seconds to go for the Jazz. We're all tied up. The Jazz have a chance to win game number 4 and take a 3-1 series lead. Green over to Bailey. Bailey! No, he missed it. Wedman with the rebound, and we will head to overtime here in game number 4. Jumping back into the Simcast here. The Jazz with an early lead in overtime. And down to a minute and 6, 54. They're up by 5, up by 3, up by 4. And yeah, this might be over. The Utah Jazz win it 109-107. Parrish with 25 and 13. Dantley with 24 and 9 in the win. So game number 5, back in Utah. The Jazz have a chance to finish out the series once again in 5 games, but it's a much closer game number 5. And they have a 3-point lead with 5:40 to go. Down to, let's see, 2:12. It's a 1-point game. A minute and 10. It's a 4-point game. Boston up by 4. Up by 6 now. And the Celtics are going to stay alive. They win in Utah 126 to 118. Dantley with 34 and 9. Mikal with 23 and 9. And we will head to a game number 6. Back to Boston we go. Boston trying to stay alive and force a game 7. They're up by 10 at the half, up by 22 going into the 4th, and they blow out the Utah Jazz 110 to 86. Johnson with 22, Maxwell with 17, Parrish with 16 and 9. And the Celtics have come back from a 3-1 deficit. Can they become the first team in NBA history to win the NBA Finals after being down 3-1? The Jazz at home, after 1, they lead it by 11. At the half, they lead it by 10. Going into the 4th, they lead it by 8. And now a 5-point game down to 2.5 minutes to go. They're up by 10. And the Utah Jazz, I think, are going to hold on to this thing. Yep. The Utah Jazz win the 1985 NBA title. Adrian Dantley, back-to-back Rookie of the Year. 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. He wins Finals MVP. And back-to-back seasons with no Magic, with no Larry Bird, and the Utah Jazz are back-to-back NBA champs, and Adrian Dantley is back-to-back MVP. We are on to the 1985 draft lottery. Now, I didn't take any players out of this draft lottery. However, because I took Magic and Bird and out of, their time, but it was after they were drafted, I did have to add 2 players kind of just randomly, right? Because I took 10 players from 2003 and before, and 10 players from 2003 and after, or 2004 and after, right? And I swapped. So I did have to, because I took Bird and Magic out before after they were drafted, I did have to just kind of add players. So the player added here in the 1985 NBA draft. Not every draft will have a player added or taken out, okay? I'll just let you guys know that because, I kept it pretty limited. Like I said, just 20 players. But in this draft, we do add a player, and it is going to be Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic will be playing in the 80s and 90s. He is in the 1985 NBA draft class with Patrick Ewing, with Charles Oakley, Karl Malone. This is a very, very good big man draft class. So the draft lottery will come down to 7 teams here. Could you imagine if Jokic and Wemby are on the same team? That would be kind of crazy. That would be kind of crazy. But it goes Bulls, Kings, Bullets, Rockets, Suns, Knicks, and the Warriors. And the Bulls do end up with the number 1 overall pick. Golden State at 2, Houston at 3, the Kings at 4, Bullets at 5. So I'm not sure. Oh, Denver didn't have their pick at 8. Look, Jokic is not going to be the number 1 overall pick. So where does Nikola Jokic go? And who will be the number 1 overall pick here in the 1985 NBA draft? And with the number 1 overall pick in back-to-back years, the Chicago Bulls will take Karl Malone. So they have a hell of a duo as their bigs. Karl Malone and Victor Wembanyama as a duo in Chicago. With the 2nd overall pick, the Golden State Warriors will select Patrick Ewing. So Ewing no longer goes number 1 in this world, partly because Chicago had Wemby, and he will head to Golden State. Houston, with the 3rd overall pick, will take Chris Mullin. At 4, the Sacramento Kings will take Xavier McDaniel. At 5, the Washington Bullets take Terry Porter. At 6, the Phoenix Suns will take Charles Oakley. At 7, the New York Knicks will take Wayman Tisdale. At 8, the Dallas Mavericks will take... No, they're trading the pick. The Washington Bullets are moving up. Reggie Theus and Ricky Sobers on the move. So, the Washington Bullets will take Joe Dumars. Where's Jokic? At number 9, the Atlanta Hawks will select... I think they're trading it. They're trading it. They're trading it to New Jersey. Darwin Cook and Lou Parsons for the 9th overall pick. And the New Jersey Nets take Spud Webb. What is happening? At number 10, the Seattle Supersonics take Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic is headed to Seattle. What a draft. That was a fun one. Here's the rest of the draft here. Indiana takes Hot Rod Williams. San Antonio takes AC Green. Man, if San Antonio was just a little bit worse, they could have had Jokic and Hakeem. That would have been crazy. Manute Bol goes to Dallas with Schrempf. So they had back-to-back pick there, 13 and 14. What a draft, though. Nikola Jokic headed to Seattle. In free agency, Eddie Johnson does return to the Kings. The Knicks signed Trent Tucker, or they re-signed Trent Tucker. Lionel Hollins heads to the Lakers. Isaiah Thomas wins most valuable player here in back-to-back years, averaging 24, 4, and 10. Patrick Ewing wins Rookie of the Year, 18 and 11, with 3 blocks per game, so no Nikola Jokic. Oh, there's Nikola Jokic winning Sixth Man of the Year. 14, 7.7 rebounds, 6 assists. Not bad. Not a bad year for Jokic coming off the bench. Akeem Olajuwon does win DPOY again for a second straight year. In year number 2, averaging 21, 12, and 3 blocks per game. Byron Randall wins Most Improved. And the Blazers won 59 games this year. Here's your All-NBA first team. Isaiah, Alex English, Dominique Barkley in year number 2, averaging 19, 12, and 3. And Akeem averaging 21, 12, and 2. All-NBA second team, we got Sidney Moncrief, Clyde Drexler averaging 20, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. James Worthy, Clark Kellogg, and Moses Malone. All defensive first team, we got Sidney Moncrief, Clyde Drexler, Larry Nance, Barkley, and Akeem. And then the second team, Maurice Cheeks, Dennis Johnson, Kevin McHale, James Worthy, and Patrick Ewing. Dominique Wilkins led the league in scoring, averaging 29 a game. Moses Malone led the league in rebounds with 14. Isaiah led the league in assists with 10.6. Moncrief led the league in steals, and Akeem led the league in blocks with 3.3. Ewing with 3.2. Wemby this year averaging nearly 20, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2.3 blocks per game, shooting 52% from the field. So shooting a little bit better. He's the only center to shoot threes. Other than like him and Jokic are going to be the only centers that will shoot any sort of threes. Portland, the number 1 seed in the West. Detroit, the number 1 seed in the East. Let's see. Utah, number 2. LA, number 3. San Antonio, number 4. So Akeem and the Spurs are the 4 seed this year. No Seattle, so no Yoke. And Chicago with Wemby did make the playoffs as a 7th seed. They'll take on the Boston Celtics. But, I mean, this team isn't great, right? I mean, it's Karl Malone and Wemby. They're going to have to get a guard, really, to help them, or like a wing to really help them out. But, I mean, Malone and Wemby, that's a hell of a duo. Malone this year averaging 19, 7, and 4 per game. So, on to round number 2. Milwaukee, LA, Golden State, Atlanta, Indy, Dallas, Chicago, Portland are all eliminated. So Wemby can't get into round number 2. We have Detroit versus New Jersey, Boston versus Philly. So Philly upset Milwaukee. San Antonio, wow, there's some big upsets in the West. San Antonio beat the Clippers, but Houston beats the San Antonio Spurs. Charles Barkley and Ralph Sampson get it done. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Barkley averaging 21 and 10 in the playoffs, and then it'll be Utah and the LA Lakers facing off. So on to the conference finals. Boston, New Jersey, Utah, San Antonio are eliminated. So we will have a brand new finals matchup. It's LA versus Houston. Can Charles Barkley get to the NBA Finals in year number 2? Or will the Lakers, without Magic, get back to the NBA Finals? And then Detroit versus Philly. Can Isaiah get to the NBA Finals a little bit earlier than he did in real life? And Philly with Moses Malone and Dr. J trying to make one more run here. So game number 1 goes to LA and Detroit. Game 2 goes to LA and Detroit. Game 3 goes to LA and Philly. Game number 4, Houston gets a game. Detroit takes a 3-1 series lead. And the Philadelphia 76ers are eliminated in 5. Isaiah headed to the NBA Finals. And the LA Lakers are on to the NBA Finals. So, it is the Detroit Pistons versus the LA Lakers. Can Michael Cooper, James Worthy, and Kareem get one without Magic? And can Isaiah win one before he did in real life? I believe they won in 90 and 91, or was it 91 and 92? No. Wait, no, it was 89 and 90, right? Yeah, because Michael won it in 91, 92, 93, did it in 94, 95, and then won 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So this would be, I guess, 4 years early? No, 3 years early for Detroit. But here we go. Game number 1. Detroit does have home court, but the Lakers with an early 8-point lead after 1. Detroit, though, ties it up at the half. The Lakers a big third quarter, though. And the Lakers will... Ooh, it's a 2-point game. And that will... Oh, my gosh, it went into overtime. I thought about jumping in, but I was like, LA might have the ball. Okay, well, let's keep going here in overtime. What a comeback from Detroit. Down to 59 seconds. It's a 1-point game. All right, let's jump in. Detroit with it, up by 1. 55 seconds to go. Here's Isaiah. Gives it to Johnson. Johnson, nice pass. Benson lays it up in. No good. Gets his own rebound. He's blocked. And there's a timeout here. I'm not sure. It should be Detroit ball. It should be, because it looked like it was blocked, and I don't think it was less. No! The Lakers will retain possession. I'm not sure what happened there. 47 seconds to go. The Lakers down by 1. Over to Scott. Byron Scott slams it down. 115 to 114. The Lakers take the lead. I thought it would have been Detroit's ball still. Isaiah over to Johnson. Nowhere to go. Gives it back to Isaiah. 34 on the game clock. Isaiah driving right. Driving right. Lays it up. Good. Big bucket by Isaiah Thomas, a back-to-back regular season MVP. And Detroit retakes the lead, 116 to 115. Now 28 seconds to go. Looks like Kareem might have fouled out, by the way. He's not in the game. Byron Scott with it. Guarded by Isaiah. Over to McAdoo. McAdoo in the post. Turnaround jumper. No good. And Isaiah with the rebound, and he's fouled. The Lakers still not out of this here. They had a foul to give. 20 seconds to go. They do have to foul, though. Down by 1. Even if Isaiah here makes both free throws, LA can still tie it up. Isaiah has 40. Oh, and he missed a free throw. 40 points and 6 assists for Isaiah Thomas. And the second. No good. He missed both. Knight over to Cooper. Cooper one-on-one. And he backs out. Ooh, I would have gotten to the rim there. 10 seconds. 8 seconds. Cooper trying to get into the post here. Nope. He's going to hold on to it. 3, 2, 1. Cooper. Good. Michael Cooper wins it for the LA Lakers here in Game 1 of the 1986 NBA Finals. What a shot from Michael Cooper. No Kareem at the end of the game. It doesn't matter. Isaiah had 40. But the back-to-back missed free throws lose him the game. Worthy had 33 and 15. Let's see. Byron Scott looks like he fouled out. Kareem fouled out. Yeesh. A lot of Lakers fouling out in this one. But it doesn't matter. Michael Cooper hits the biggest shot of the game and wins it for the Lakers. On to Game 2 in Detroit again. Detroit down 0-1, though. And they take a double-digit lead into the fourth quarter. And they should win this one easily. 109 to 89. Chapuka with 33. Vinny Johnson with 22 and 9. Isaiah with 19 and 7 in the win. Byron Scott with 27. Worthy with 20. Kareem with 14 and 16. So We head to game 3. To LA we go. And after 1, the Pistons up by 5. At the half, they're up by 4. Going into the 4th, though, the Lakers take the lead. And now the Lakers, a huge 4th quarter. They won the 4th by 10. They win the game 111-99. Worthy with 30 and 14. Kareem with 17 and 14 and 5 blocks. Isaiah with 23 and 12 in the loss. And the Lakers with home court here, trying to take a 3-1 series lead, down by 8 after 1, down by 4 at the half, down by 9 going into the 4th quarter. But they've come back here, and let's see, down to a minute to go. We're all tied up at 107. Let's jump in. Detroit with it. Isaiah Thomas driving left. Step back, mid-range jumper. Good. Banked it in, and Isaiah Thomas, big shot, gives the Pistons a 2-point lead. Trying to avoid going down 3-1 here against the Lakers. 45 seconds to go. Scott gives it to McAdoo in the post. McAdoo, turn around. Nope, and it's going to be offensive 3 seconds. I'm not sure what happened there with Bob McAdoo. 41 seconds to go. And Isaiah will bring it up. Detroit up by 2 here. Isaiah will take a mid-range jumper. No good. Tough shot. Livingston with the rebound. Puts it up. No. Lambeer with the rebound. Kicks out to Tripucka. Gives it to Isaiah. Now 21 on the clock. Detroit still up by 2. I'm not sure where the shot clock is at. 12 seconds down the game clock. Isaiah gets a screen from Lambeer. Now 4 on the shot clock. 3, 2. Isaiah has to put it up. No good. And Worthy with the rebound. The Lakers call a timeout to advance the ball up court. 3 seconds to go here in game number 4. Detroit trying to hold on and tie up this series at 2. And they can take back home court advantage. So the Lakers will pass it in. Ball is in to Scott. Scott, fade away. No, he missed it at the buzzer. And the Detroit Pistons win game 4 in LA. And we will head to game 5 with this series tied up at 2. Game number 5, back to Detroit we go. And after 1, Detroit up by 4. And at the half, they're up by 5. After 3, they're up by 7. And Detroit in full control. They win at 110-96. Isaiah with 31, 4, and 7. Worthy with 30, 12, and 7. But the Pistons take a 3-2 series lead. Game 6 in LA. And the Pistons take a 2-point lead after 1. At the half, though, the Lakers cut it to 1. The Pistons now lead it by 10. And into the 4th quarter, the Lakers have come all the way back. My goodness. The LA Lakers win it 129-125. A big 4th quarter. Isaiah with 34, 6, and 12. Worthy with 37 and 11. And the LA Lakers have tied up this series, and we are headed to a Game 7 in Detroit. The Pistons looking for their first NBA title in franchise history, and they lead it by 10 here into the 3rd quarter. Into the 4th quarter, they lead it by 5. And now down, wow, the Lakers have taken the lead again. Back and forth. It's a 2-point game, 29 seconds to go. Let's jump in. LA with the ball down by 2, 29 seconds to go. Hollins with the ball. Kareem is in the game, so he didn't foul out. Hollins holding on to it, 20 seconds to go. Why are we holding on to the ball? 15 seconds to go. McGee with it. Over to Scott. Scott to tie. Good. All right, well, that works. Byron Scott, another big shot in this series, and we're all tied up at 97 with 13 seconds to go. Can the Pistons win it at the buzzer here in Game 7 to win their first NBA title in franchise history? Into Lambeer, over to Johnson. Oh, is there no Isaiah, or is there Isaiah in the corner? 5 seconds to go. Johnson, 3 seconds to go. 2, 1, Johnson for the win! No! And we're going to have overtime. We're going to have to check on Isaiah. Isaiah might have fouled out. there may not be Isaiah Thomas here at the end of the game. He has 5 turnovers. Not great. He fouled out. Wow. In the biggest game of his career, he fouls out. Unbelievable. All right, well, let's head into the Simcast here for overtime here in game number 7. And it's back and forth. Down to 38 seconds to go. The Lakers with the 4-point game. Let's jump in here. The Pistons got to score. They need a bucket, and they need a bucket quick. Down by 4. And ball is in. Too long. Long hands it off. Johnson with it. Now you got to go. And they call a timeout. What a disaster. What an absolute disaster by the Detroit Pistons. They had full control of this game. The Lakers, another big fourth quarter. And the Pistons just keep blowing games. Detroit with it. Over to Johnson. And they call another timeout. Oh, good Lord. This is a disaster. I mean, they needed to have taken a shot already. Now even if you make it, even if you score, you got to foul. You have to foul now. 29 seconds to go. Over to Chapuka. To Johnson. Johnson will get a screen from Lambeer. Johnson out to Long. Back to Johnson. They're wasting so much time. 2 seconds. Johnson for 3. No good. Worthy with the rebound. That's going to do it. The LA Lakers are going to win this thing. And that will do it. The LA Lakers are NBA champions. They win it without Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Byron Scott. They get it done as the Pistons are celebrating and the Lakers are disappointed. Am I drunk? Or high? What? Hello? Oh, now the Lakers are celebrating. What is happening? Kareem hoists up the Larry O'Brien trophy. He thought he lost once the buzzer sounded, but he won. Don't worry. And James Worthy will win the Finals MVP here in 1986. Goodness gracious. We'll take a look at the box score. Lambeer with 19 and 16. A horrible game from Isaiah. Worthy with 29 and 12. Scott with 27 and 7. Isaiah was awesome in that series. Hit some big-time shots. But James Worthy is your Rookie of the Year. 28 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists per game in the 1986 NBA Finals. He is your Finals MVP. And that will do it for this episode. 3 years down of this what-if crazy scenario where NBA legends swap places with each other. No Magic Johnson, no Larry Bird here early on. You guys will see when they come into the league. I can't tell you guys. It's got to be a surprise. But Victor Wembanyama and Nikola Jokic in the league in the 80s. How will they do? We'll see what happens. Hope you guys enjoyed it. That like button if you guys did. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the year in 1986.